We start a new chapter with Malcolm Smith, a young man with the gift of magic. His abusive father gave him to a hedge wizard after he decided Malcolm was useless at smithing. As soon as he learnt enough about magic, he returned to his father, and using his newly developed abilities, he set him ablaze and took all the shop's gold. He then set out into the world with stolen gold in his pocket and no real plan in his head. After some time, Malcolm finds himself in the ancient city of Solstice. He wanders the city, exploring, and soon learns that the city is home to many wizards. He decides to try and get an apprenticeship. Instead of a wizard, he finds two odd monks called Pete and Pete, who tell him they could show him the path of wisdom, but he would have to accompany them on a journey of purification. Intrigued by this, Mal agrees to meet them in a couple of days to go on his journey. While passing time, he decided to practice a little magic and managed to make a waitress strip with the use of his hypnotize spell. Nothing else of interest happens, and soon the day of the journey dawns, and Mel went off in search of the two Petes. Together they depart from the city, but it does not take long for things to get weird, and soon the monks leave the road to follow a road that only they could see. After a few hours, they allow Malcolm to lead them on his own imaginary road. A few hours of this goes by, and Malcolm decides that it would probably be best for everyone if he just set these weird monks on fire, and so he does. But things don't go as he expected, and he ends up with two scorched and angry monks. He disengages from the fight and hopes the brush fire he started would finish off the two Petes. But through the smoke and flame, he spots two figures fleeing into the wild, and that was good enough for Malcolm. Satisfied, he started the journey back to Solstice. Upon his return to the traveller's oasis, he spots a wizard in the common room and decides to make friends. It goes well, and the wizard introduces himself as Gareth, and they chat into the night. The following morning, Malcolm goes to the library to meet his new friend so they can possibly exchange spells. But when he gets there, he decided to instead steal Gareth's spell book through the use of an unseen servant spell. It went bad, very bad. But the gods must have been smiling on Malcolm, because through some lucky breaks, he manages to get back to the inn with his stolen book in hand. His luck does not last long, however, and the next morning, a night of solstice comes knocking on his door. Panicking, he grabs all his stuff and jumps out the second-story window and attempts to flee the city. All goes well, and he manages to reach a city gate, and quickly the city is behind him. He finds a farmer who is willing to rent Malcolm a spot in his barn, and Mel settles in and starts studying his new spell book. The next morning, however, he spots the familiar figure of Gareth approaching the farm, and he was not alone. Malcolm decided to once again flee, but first sets the barn on fire to create a distraction. He again leaves his pursuers behind and wanders along the road until nightfall, when luckily he manages to find a roadside inn. He gets a good night's sleep and leaves early the next morning. Not long after he started his journey, he encounters a farmer babbling about dragons burning down his farm. However, Malcolm, instead of help, he gives the man a dagger to the gut and continues on. Later the same day, he is ambushed by goblins, but manages to resolve the situation without bloodshed by using a hypnotize spell. Shortly after, he reaches the town of Vellum, whose residents are in awe of him once they learn he is a wizard. They convince Mel to aid them in dealing with goblins hiding in a nearby cave. He agrees and recruits some willing farmers to aid him. They head out the next morning, looking for the goblin cave, and soon find it. But the battle goes badly for Malcolm and his farmers. Soon half of them are dead. After his hypnotize spell fails to deliver the expected result, Mel gets desperate and changes his tactics and turns on the farmers. Between the goblins and Malcolm, it does not take long for the remaining farmers to get slaughtered, and Malcolm manages to convince the goblins to take him to their leader. They lead him deeper into their lair, and soon he stands before a large creature cloaked in the darkness of the cave. What will Malcolm's fate be? Will he end up a goblin slave? Find out next time on Dicing with Death.
Hey, that is not the right screen. Hey everybody, welcome back to Dicing with Death. How are you doing today, Ryan?
Doing well. Yeah.
Good.
Better than Malcolm.
Much better than Malcolm. So I think last we left Malcolm, you guys all just heard the recap, but I didn't hear it, but he was in a goblin cave?
Yeah.
Is that where
So
we ended?
you surrendered. Yeah, you turned your back on your comrades, surrendered yourself to the goblins, and you've been dragged down this dark tunnel into a
Yes.
large cavern surrounded by dozens of yellow eyes and thrown before what sounds like a large creature, at least based on its breathing.
Yeah.
Looming over you. You see large protrusions jutting from this creature's chest, but all you can really see is from the filtered light hundreds of feet above you at the surface.
Okay. So the cave does slope heavily downward.
There's one path downward. You opened up into a chamber, but the lighting is very, very dim.
All right.
What have we here?
I'm your friend. I brought the most vicious humans here, and I helped you kill them all.
A hand juts out from above you and grabs you tightly around the throat.
You don't need to kill me.
You hear some barking in a guttural language you don't understand. What languages do you speak?
I speak common.
Really? You just left it open?
Yep, I just speak common.
All right. Rock Dr. Lilac.
You really don't need to kill me.
All right. He pushes against your throat. You gag and are tossed to your knees, but otherwise unharmed. Why do you turn on your pale-skinned brothers?
Because they're weak and stupid and cowardly, and I hate them.
Yes, this is true.
I figured if I could show you,
This
if I could,
looming creature crouches low. So I assume you're still lying on the ground where
Yeah.
he tossed you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe
So
starting
he
to sit up.
squats down over you.
Maybe if
What
I could
makes
help
you
you,
different? Why should I not feast on your flesh as well?
because I helped you. I
You
helped
didn't.
you kill them. I've brought you their worst warriors, their best warriors,
There was.
and used my magic to help slay them.
You do notice this creature's common is actually quite decent.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm doing my best to imitate the accent as I intend it.
Now that their warriors are dead, we can go and ransack the town together. And then I will take what I want, and you will take what you want, and we will both be better for it.
I will take what I want. You will take what I want.
Hmm.
Everyone gets what I want. Very
Malcolm's
well.
eyes narrow as if.
Tonight,
Go ahead.
yeah, you're pretty much pitch black.
Yeah.
So you can narrow your eyes if you want, but it doesn't change your visibility. Tonight we will raid. For now, we will feast.
Good idea. Good idea, buddy.
And you hear the scampering of small feet around you. You're probably sitting on the dirt floor.
Mm-hmm.
No one touches you or interferes with you. But all around you hear the scuttling of little feet and the scraping of claws against dirt and stone.
Okay.
You just sit there on the floor in the filth.
Yeah, I try and back up so my back is against a wall somewhere, so that
Sure,
nothing's gonna sneak up behind me.
You bump a couple of creatures on your way, but you eventually make your way to the wall of this cave. It was probably 25 feet from where you were, and it's even more dim. Backed into a corner. The only light is coming from the single passageway from whence you came. From the light, you do get a glimpse of the creature you were speaking to, however dimly. Appears to be well over 6 feet tall, and wrapped around his body is this sort of cage of spines.
Cage of spines?
The light's dim. You're having trouble, but it looks like.
How long does it feel like? What time was it when we came in here? Was it in the morning or in the evening?
I think you set out with your little band of would-be heroes in the morning, and it was like an hour-ish out of town. So sometime in the afternoon. It sounds like the cavern is emptied out a little bit.
Okay. I don't think I can sleep before we raid, so I'm not going to have my spells.
Would you really feel comfortable falling asleep where you are right now?
No, and I don't think I could even if I was.
You find yourself more or less ignored, actually.
Okay. I hang out for 45
huddled
minutes.
Against the wall in the darkness.
Kind of just like biding my time, listening to things around me.
So within a few minutes, the commotion kicks up again, and you can hear some noises coming from coming up the cavern.
Can I identify what the noises
scuttling
are?
Feet, a little slower. Yeah, a little scuttling, a little slower, and maybe something being dragged or half dozen somethings being dragged.
Hmm. Okay. Probably bodies. So I'm just gonna
Based
wait
on the noise,
until I sound I'm gonna
it
wait until I
sounds like
hear
the cavern
eating.
fills up again.
Yeah.
And then within maybe 5 minutes of this, I mean, there's grunting, and it actually sounds like the Archie-Barkies are getting more excited.
Mm-hmm.
Some hubbub about something. This goes on for about 5 minutes, building and building, a crescendo of guttural voices, until suddenly a spark, and you see a splash of flame light up in the center of the room. And a roaring bonfire gets going. In the room are maybe 2-3 dozen small goblinoid creatures, and directly across the fire from you is a 6.5 foot tall goblinoid, illuminated in the orange light of the fire.
6.5 foot tall goblinoid.
Yes, and wrapped around his torso is a bone white breastplate. On closer inspection, it looks to be the rib cage of a much larger humanoid,
Okay.
placed upside down, sort of clavicle at his waist, with the lower ribs wrapped above his shoulder blades.
It's a pretty cool way of doing things.
You can see the glinting of his teeth, smiling as he looks on as the bonfire roars.
What are they doing with the fire?
You see the smoke pouring out, feeding it.
Okay.
They've just got it started.
Okay, I'm gonna wait another half hour from this point, and just kind of let them do their thing, unless they all get very engrossed in eating, in which case I want to make an action.
That hasn't happened yet. So within a half hour, they get the fire going, and then they take the people, start stripping them of their clothes, and proceed to start tearing them to shreds and hanging them piece by piece over the fire.
Lovely.
Forearm here, thigh there.
Okay, well, when they start to hang things over the fire, I'm going to start edging my way towards the entrance.
This is a small cavern, maybe 25 feet in diameter, with a couple of dozen goblins. It's relatively crowded. So you've got to edge past a few creatures to get to the cave entrance.
Okay. I'll do my best to edge past him.
Are you trying to be sneaky about this?
I don't think there's a way that I can be sneaky about this. So I'll just kind of like get up and slowly pick my way between them and casually make my way towards the entrance.
Okay. You accidentally bump one who sort of looks up at you and snarls. You make your way to the entrance to the cave, illuminated by the firelight. It almost looks dimmer going uphill than where you are now.
Cool. I'll just keep going. Does anyone stop me?
You take a few steps up the hill and you hear "Where do you think you're going?"
A man's gotta do what a man's gotta do. When nature calls. Unless you want me like shitting. Unless you want me shitting on in your house, you'd probably better let me go outside.
And you see a couple of goblins begrudgingly stand to their feet and accompany you up the cave entrance.
2 goblins. Okay, let's take a look at my character sheet. Can I take 2 goblins with 10 AC? 5 HP remaining and +0 to hit. No. No, I cannot.
How fast are goblins? Can you outrun them?
Yes, that is the question. I can probably outrun them.
So, do you walk up out the cave entrance?
Yeah, I walk out the cave entrance, and I kind of just start heading roughly in the direction of town.
One
wanna
of
go
them
about-
walks sort of in front of you, sort of hindering your movement.
Okay,
you, like, try to
I play the
go
part of
around
the
him?
prisoner, and just kind of, follow along. If they hinder my movement, I don't push it.
They're sort of following you, but one of them's sort of bumbling in front of you, so you're like awkwardly slowing to a slow walk.
Mm-hmm.
And they're sort of gibbering amongst themselves. They follow you in the sunlight.
Yeah, I will.
How far? So
I go like 5 minutes, just like far enough away from the cave that I could shit and it wouldn't be bothersome to the.
you get like a couple 100 feet away. So like you walk for less than a minute, and you feel a sharp jab from behind you.
Okay. I go
in your
okay,
thigh.
and then I point to a nearby bush or something, and give them like a hold on, and try and walk over to the bush unaccompanied.
They keep the same formation, so they sort of continue like glommed onto you.
I stop and,
they're,
go.
they're
Whoa,
like
whoa!
meandering around. And you're like, bump.
Have you guys heard of privacy or anything? Come on now. Then I try and
Yeah, these guys are like less than 4 feet tall. I mean, imagine if you ever tried to like walk with a couple of toddlers. I don't know if
Yeah.
that sounds familiar. They're just sort of bumbling around you, and you don't particularly feel like a prisoner, but they're not letting you go into the bush by yourself.
Okay. Well then, I'm gonna just I'll walk
So
towards the bush, and then
you go to the bush.
yeah, as I get about 3/4 of the way there, I'm just gonna break into a run towards town. And if they have an attack readied, then I take an opportunity attack. But that's what I got.
No, none of them have their weapons drawn. They are not surprised, so roll initiative.
Okay. Here we go.
This might be where it ends, actually.
Yeah, 7.
So they go first.
This literally could just be where
So
it
you
ends.
you break into a run. 2 of them like try to dive at you. One of them grabs you. Trying to think how overbears and stuff work in this. I think you'll have to make it. So make an opposed strength check for the grab. It's not an overbear. The overbear is when multiple small creatures try to take down a larger one.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to call this like a wrestling attack. So make an opposed strength check.
RD20 plus.
And you do actually get shivved.
Strength of 22.
Lucky you. Holy shit.
6 damage on a shiv.
This little goblin just like gets 1 damage on the shiv.
Okay, thank
So
God.
just a graze with the short sword. No, but the goblin just dominated his strength check. So he just like catches your ankle as you're running, and you just fall flat in the dirt. It's your turn. Yeah, he rolled. I don't know what a goblin's strength is, but he rolled a 19. So
Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, I guess
almost
I'm just
30.
gonna make a. I'm gonna try and kick the goblin off of me. So post strength check to break out. I'm gonna try and kick his hands off of me, and keep running. That's my goal.
Make your opposed strength check. There is a goblin looming over you with a blade.
Natural 20, 29.
Yeah. So you break free and actually kick him into the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
You get to your feet.
And I run.
Do you
Yeah, I just
provoking an
run.
OA? Hitting for 4
Fall.
damage.
Mhm, what?
You're unconscious. Yeah, 4 damage knocks you unconscious, I assume.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm unconscious. But I'm at 0. I'm not
Um,
bleeding to death.
no, you're still alive.
Do they eat me,
Dragged
Ryan?
back
Is
into
this
the
where it
goblin's
ends?
lair. I don't know that they would eat. I mean, they've got more flesh than they can handle.
But would they keep me alive? How? I mean,
Let's
I
come
don't
up with a
want to
luck
say be
roll or
merciful,
something.
but you know.
Yeah, let's roll a charisma check to see how well your suggestion for rating went. So let's do a charisma check. DC
11
20?
total.
No. No.
So, new character?
Maybe. I'm trying to think if there's any like they feast on flesh.
I think.
I mean, let's see here. How so when you will recover 1 HP in like 36 hours, right?
24 hours.
Or sorry, 24 hours. No, sorry, 48 hours. Well, because you just had a strenuous day. Well, fuck, Neil.
Well, that was a. I can't believe I just wrote all that down on a character sheet only to die 5 minutes later.
You're not dead yet, but I'm trying to think what happens in the next day. I mean, I guess we can role play it out, but so I mean, they're not going to kill you immediately, but it's not going to be pretty.
Okay, so.
Your call. So I'm going to figure out how their attack on the town goes. Okay. So I guess 24 hours later, you wake up in the darkness, in the mud.
Okay. 1 HP?
1 HP. You hear gibbering voices all around you.
Okay. I will try not to make any moves. I'm going to try and
There's a
play
few
dead.
objects nearby.
I'm going to try and play dead, but creep one eye open and look about. It's dark, you say?
Yeah, there's no fire or anything. It's pitch black.
Is there any light coming in from the mouth of the cave?
Your eyes adjust and you do see filtered light. Yeah, you are in their cave, so you can basically see what you saw before, just dimmest of dim light.
Okay, I'm gonna lay there
yeah.
for a few minutes, and I'm gonna try and get a head count of how many creatures might be in here based on sounds and movements and whatnot.
Yeah, roll a perception check.
Not an intelligence check?
Sure, intelligence check pieced together from echolocation.
29. Total.
Yeah, you'd guess maybe a dozen goblins.
Okay. So a lot.
You're,
Still.
Yeah. You seem to be sort of shoved off into a corner amidst a heap of refuse. The smell of rotting flesh.
And do these creatures around me, do they sound awake?
Yeah, there's gibbering
Okay.
amongst the goblins.
Am I still carrying my backpack?
It's still strapped to your back. However, it looks like some of the contents may have been jostled loose.
Not sure how to get out of this one. Um, I guess I keep playing dead. I'm going to try and just keep playing dead until they fall asleep. Whenever that might be. So I'm just gonna lie there for a few hours. And if I can, I'm gonna pay attention to the light outside to see if it's getting brighter, dimmer, or staying pretty constant. I'm gonna try and gauge the time of day if I can.
Yeah. The light stays pretty constant for a few hours, and things do not calm down. If anything, they sort of get more boisterous. And it seems like a few more goblins join the party.
Okay. Can I tell my position relative to the other goblins and the entrance? Am I near the back of the cave, near closer to the front of the cave? Like, are there goblins or creatures between me and the light?
There's absolutely creatures between you and the light, so it's roughly circular cavern. You're sort of the back corner, opposite the cave.
So I am like in the far back.
You could be farther from the entrance, but you are sort of on the back wall.
Still on the way back. According to the rules of D&D, if I get a surprise round on them, I could be out at the entrance of the cave before they knew what was up. I might lose my quarterstaff, but that's fine. I can get a new quarterstaff.
Do you have a quarterstaff?
I had a
thought you
quarterstaff.
lost it last episode. Did you replace it?
Oh, no, I probably didn't. Okay.
Is it on your character sheet?
Nope. Nope, not on my
You
character
lost it
sheet.
last time.
Okay, so
So over the course of this time, a goblin does walk over to your pile.
I keep my breathing steady and lie there, pretending to be unconscious.
All right. He retrieves something from the refuse pile and, laughing, returns to his comrades. Do we have music? Isn't there like a Goblin Cave soundtrack?
That's what's playing right now.
Awesome.
Okay, can I feel if my spell book is in my backpack at all?
Ooh. No.
It is not, or I cannot tell.
You can't look at your spellbook. You do find the other spellbook.
The other spell book.
Your contraband spellbook.
My contraband spell book, right. The one that I tried to read and didn't get too far in.
You got through like the first spell.
Yeah. Okay. I
assume your spellbook was just in your bag, right?
Right, it was just tossed in there.
Yeah. I mean, your bag is like fallen open, and it looks like half the contents have spilled out.
Okay. I'm going to very slowly, like an inch every 10 seconds or so, move my feet about to try and see if I can bump my legs or my feet into a spell book around me. Very slowly. And take my time.
Roll a dexterity check.
$14.
So you bumble some objects with your feet, but none of them feel book-like.
Okay.
Some are hard and round,
Probably
others
heads.
long, soft. You're a squish, and as you kick what you fear might be goblin feces.
I can't leave without my spell book. Because then I literally couldn't memorize any spells. Do I have anything written down? No. Okay, I'm gonna keep laying here pretending to be unconscious until they start another fire so I can look around for my actual spellbook, or until they seem to go to sleep or leave the cave. So I'll just continue lying there.
So maybe a half hour after the first of the goblin. So I said a few goblins came in and things picked up, if anything. Maybe a half hour after that, a stream of goblins comes in the cave, laughing and shouting, and you hear dragging and scampering. A bigger bellowing voice joins the chorus. And you hear more creatures pouring into the cavern.
Okay, I keep waiting.
How long? Hours?
I'm gonna wait hours, at least a full 24 hours. After 24 hours, I'll make up a new plan. But I'm gonna wait until a fire gets lit or until they go to sleep.
Yeah. So within a few hours, so you spend a few hours just lying as still as you can in this pile of scraps. Within a few hours, another spark goes off and a small fire gets started.
Okay, I try and keep my eyes
Iron
closed, and then slowly open one to glance around, but not fully open, half open, and trying to glance around, see what's around me, see if anything's looking at me, see if I can spot a spell book.
The first thing you see looks to be a foot lying a few feet from your face.
Is it attached to anything?
You look around and this pile appears... No, maybe a few inches of leg. You look around and you're sort of tossed amongst a pile of bones and refuse. The room has maybe 15, 20 goblins in it, and the large orange-skinned goblinoid with the bone armor is sitting atop a large wooden box.
Okay.
Just near the cave entrance.
I keep...
He appears to be dominating the conversation, regaling his companions with which you can only gather are the most amusing of tales, because they seem to laugh at every joke.
I bet they do. I keep trying to look for my spell book, if at all possible.
Roll a perception check.
20 plus 10. 16. Oh, the dice are not with me today.
Nah, you don't see any spell books. What else do you have in your backpack? What did you have?
Let's see. I have a knife.
Is that it?
Well, a dagger, clothes and backpack, flint and steel, 2 spell books. That's all I got.
All right. The dagger's still there. The flint and steel is missing. Do you have any spell components?
Yeah, let me look up what my spell components are. My spell components are a little bit of string and a clear crystal. They would be in my belt pouches.
Okay. Belt pouches are both still attached.
Yeah.
So
Actually, it would probably just be the piece of crystal. I would probably take string off of my clothing for the Unseen Servant spell. Or pick up little
Okay.
bits of wood. Yeah. Okay, so I keep waiting until they seem to go to sleep or until most of them leave.
Hours pass, they don't sleep, they don't leave. If anything, they get more boisterous. They keep feeding the fire and
Then
occasionally approaching the pile that you are a part of for bits and pieces of humans. Actually, when the large group returned, a bunch more shit got piled into the pile. A few bodies of humans, half a horse, and then a few large sacks.
Okay, I keep waiting. I keep biding my time. I'll wait the full 24 hours. I mean, they've got to sleep, right? Everything sleeps, so Malcolm will keep waiting until they go to bed.
So a couple hours pass, and a goblin approaches near you once again. Approaches the pile.
I pretend to be asleep, keep my eyes
Playing
closed.
dead. All right. He grabs a grip of your forearm and gives it a tug.
Oh God, they're gonna eat me. I lay there still motionless, dead weight, but I will open
Roll a-
one eye halfway and kind
Roll a
of
wisdom check.
roll my head in their direction so that I can see what's going on.
Roll a wisdom check. Willpower.
16.
All right, so he tugs on you, and you're unable to keep it cool. I mean, you open your eyes and look in his direction, and you directly meet his gaze.
I get to my feet
The
and run.
yellow eye staring right at you.
As I meet his gaze,
Alright.
I just stand and try and push past him and run. I just go for it.
Roll initiative.
Nine.
You actually go first. They're
Okay.
not surprised. You hear a sound of and
So as I get to my
Noise.
feet, I take one last glance back behind me and around me, just like a 1 second, just like, huh? To see if I can spot a spell book. But even if I do see it, I'm not
Roll
going to go
perception
for
check.
it. I'm just glancing for it. D20 plus 10 is a natural 1.
Yeah. So you see a hand, a burlap sack. You figure you've got to run now before the goblin gets his wits about him.
I
Draws
just
the
go.
bow.
I go for the front door. I run. I do not run through the fire, but I will just run past everything. God, wait, hold on. There's a bajillion goblins between me and the cave entrance, right?
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah, I run. I run.
Yeah. None of them get attacks of opportunity. They don't have weapons bared. I don't think they'll make attacks of opportunity with silverware if they have it. But there's quite a commotion. Everyone stands to their feet. And you, I guess in the first round, you push past them and make it a good ways up the
You mean
the cave.
120 yards?
120 yards, yes.
Yes. Cool. So I push it 120 yards up from out to the cave and out into the sunshine.
Yeah, roll a perception check.
17.
All right. It's actually pitch black as you run from the fire. It gets darker and darker.
Oh god.
Yeah, darker and darker. You reach the cave, come into a pitch black forest. Behind you is 1,000 guttural voices chirping. So you can
I
go
have
forward,
no
you can
night
go left, you
vision.
can go right.
I go right. I put my hand on the side of the wall, and I go right.
So there's not much of a so yeah, there's not much of a wall. I mean, you come to the surface and you're basically standing in front of a dirt mound.
Okay. Well then I go right. If it Can I see well enough to at least avoid trees, or am I just gonna like probably run into
Yeah,
a tree?
there's stars, but the moon is just a sliver.
That's fine. I'm just gonna try and avoid running directly into trees and dash my way through the forest.
Okay. Yeah, roll a perception check to see if you can navigate.
14.
Okay. So you run, your heart's pounding in your chest. You really can't see anything around you. You're brushing past trees and in the darkness.
Find me.
And that, what's that?
No, and in the darkness behind them. No.
Oh. Okay. And you step around a tree and you see before you in the dim light are several small humanoids running straight at you
From in front of me,
from in front of you.
I try and avoid them.
Roll initiative.
Okay.
Yeah, roll initiative.
10.
Yeah, what is night vision like if you
DM's discretion, but I've always kind of considered night vision just if you have enough light to, if there's any light out there, like enough that a cat could see at night, you have 60-foot vision. That's pretty decent.
Yeah. Okay. So one of these creatures runs right up to you. Tries to dive at you, but sort of misses. You sort of step aside.
Mm-hmm.
You see several more running through the darkness in your direction that are further off. It is your turn. There's a goblin like right next to you, and a few more coming from where he was coming, which is the direction you were headed.
I will start to shift my direction a little bit leftward and continue to. So, like, yeah, if I came out of the cave and I went right, now there's goblins coming from in front of me, I will just go left. So this would be the direction of exiting the cave. And I just run. Do you need me to make an initiative roll?
The guard. No. As you run, the goblin lunges at you with the dagger, but he misses, and you run.
Okay, I
roll
run.
another perception check.
Oh, what have I done? What have I done? D20 plus 10. 24. Oh, thank God.
Okay. You run for what seems like hours. Heart pounding loud in your head. But eventually you run out of breath. You look and realize you're not being followed. You're not being pursued. You're just alone in the dark.
Thank God. Do I remember... Can I make an intelligence check to try and remember if the cave was on the north or south or east or west side of the road?
Sure, make an intelligence check.
Nope. Natural 1. Wait, that's a D2.
No.
Hold on.
The-
That was a
Oh.
D2. 22.
Yeah, the road runs west to east. The cave was maybe an hour or so south of the road. You tried running when you first left the cave. You think you ran north, but you got pretty turned around, and then you bumped into some goblins, and you changed direction. And you're really not sure which direction you've been heading.
Do I have a direction sense proficiency? No, but I have an astrology proficiency and a navigation proficiency. So I'm going to try
Navigation is just the sea, but that gives you a bonus. Oh wait, no, astrology. Oh shit, what was that?
Astrology gives me a
sorry.
bonus to navigation,
Yeah.
but I think navigation does allow
I
me
think-
to find my way by starlight. I think it specifically mentions character has learned the arts of navigation by navigating by the stars, studying currents and watching for telltale signs of land, reef, and hidden danger. Not particularly useful on
Mostly by
land. At
sea, but-
sea, however, it reduces the chance of getting lost by 20%. So if I can
Is there
get
a
to a...
proficiency check associated?
So what?
You can get to the ocean. You can go ahead and make a navigation check. That's
Yeah, I
fine.
just want to be able to find a spot where I can see some starlight and figure out which direction is north. Which, you know, shouldn't be too terribly hard, I would guess. 22?
Yeah, I mean, you think you figured out which way is north. It's off to your left,
Okay.
if that makes any difference to you.
I mean, I turn left, point
So
myself
you
north,
sort that you've been Yeah, you sort out that you've been walking east, at least for maybe southeast, at least for the recent history, the recent past.
it's good enough for me. I point myself towards north and take off. Slowly. No need to run.
Okay, how long do you go? I mean, the adrenaline's starting to wear off. You're dead tired and at 1 HP.
Yeah. I'm gonna walk at least 2 hours. I've been lying in a cave all day, so I'm just gonna try and push myself at least until I get to a road, or 2 hours, whichever happens first.
Okay. Just under 2 hours is about what it takes.
Okay.
So maybe an hour and a half later, you step out from behind a tree onto smooth dirt. You nearly trip over a rut from a wagon wheel.
Nice, nice. I will walk just a little bit on the other side of the road, 20 feet to the other side of the road, find a bush to settle down next to, and pass out.
All right. I guess with that, let's go into our first break.
Okay. We will see you guys.
Am I too kind, finding a way for you to scrape by?
We'll see.
No spell book.
Yeah, that's the killer because I can't even learn any of the new spells in this other spell book without my
You
previous
could
spell book.
learn cantrip,
Yeah.
which you've deciphered. I think that's the only one you actually
At
figured
this
out.
at this point, I'm just a dude with 1 HP, 2 HP by morning. But we'll see you guys on the other side of our break.
Why would-
Bye.
Yeah.